Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Centralist. I hope everyone in the United States is having a great evening. I mean, I hope everybody around the world is, but I know it's not evening for everybody around the world. Right now, it's just evening where I'm at. As a matter of fact, it's 9:12 in the evening time, and I hope everybody on the East Coast, West Coast, and the middle of the country is all enjoying their evening. You know, we're almost completely COVID. Wait, let me rephrase this. I don't want to get thrown off of YouTube. We're almost all COVID free in the country. Not meaning the disease is gone, but we can actually go out and play and not get in trouble. And I actually heard the California governor say, "Look, please don't throw me out. I'm going to open everything up with no restrictions. Okay, just don't throw me out, please." Which we're going to talk about that along with De Blasio and Como after a while in the show, along with a few others that we have friends that live in the Northeast that have to deal with the crazies up there. We got friends that live out in the West that have to deal with that. And we got friends down here in the South. For some reason, the South's been very lucky through all of this. And I don't want to brag too much because some shit may come raining down on our ass, man. So I'm just not going to say that. But anyway, I want to welcome everybody tonight. And I'm gonna let everybody properly go around and introduce themselves in just a minute. Oh, Jenny's to the right tonight. Well, we won't stick her tonight since she's the newbie on the panel. But usually, the person on the right takes over when I go play with the other two computers. But anyway, guys, go ahead. Jay, start with you. Y'all just make rounds. Jenny, Dell, Michael, Sean, and Lily. Lord, Lily. Where's Lily coming from? Oh, that's why. And Laura, y'all go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. So, Jenny, I'll let you start, and y'all make the rounds, guys.
Well, one of the hosts of Chasing Prophecy. I'm also an author of a sci-fi trilogy, and I have 6 other books that are on Amazon. And the trilogy is it's optioned for a movie, so hopefully things will start moving with Netflix. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Yep, I'm the Dell. Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. The Delicious Recipe, where we talk about anything mystery, paranormal, strange events, stuff like that. So that's for an hour on Tuesdays.
Hi.
And
you what? Michael, go ahead.
Oh, I thought we were going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
All right. So I've got Discovery Paranormal every Tuesday, 8 p.m., discussing everything paranormal, getting to the butt of the science. And also RPN Red Pill News every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Take the red pill, take the red pill, take the red pill.
Hi, my name is Sean Kelly. I'm from Chasing Prophecy. I'm co-host with Denny. I'm also the founder of the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, and I cut meat for a living.
Y'all done? Okay, hi, I'm Laura Hutton. I am the host of The Age of Rock on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm a psychic medium. I'm from Canada and the Dell's other half. And Crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. And I'm also a nurse. And this is going to be fun tonight.
Well, now we're back. Dell's other half. What do you mean? Like you merged together?
Okay, I'm the cage master.
I'm just confused. I want to be correct here, right? We live in a very politically correct world now. We have to make people understand what we're talking about. Y'all might be merged as one, and you might be the Laura Dell or something, the Dell Laura. How the hell do I know? We live in a strange world. So I want to start off, and we'll rotate around here talking about Uncle Biden, Uncle Cracker. The reason I call him Cracker Joe is because I've been around for a couple of days on the planet, and I've watched his past legislation. If this guy's black friendly, so's the slavers from South Africa. I mean, this guy is ridiculous, man. Even what he does to now is pretty much anti-black, and it confuses me to just see people out there going, well, yeah, he loves everything. Like, really? Let me see. We got ungodly amount of people coming through our borders, just pouring into the country. I was listening to one of the mayors, who's a Democrat of all things, just screaming about it yesterday. He's like, look, man, 55,000 people have passed through my town in the last 7 days. Unregistered, they have no idea where they're going. They're just, basically, it's invasion of the USA. He said, don't get me wrong. He said, we're probably registering twice as many as we're not. He said, but still, he said, just think about it. This is one little shithole town, his words, not mine, on the border. So we start up. Jay, what do you think? You think Biden, if we had to give Biden, we'll do it like this. If we had to give Biden a grade on border, on how he's handled the borders, What do you think? A, B, C, D, E, double F? I'm just asking because I know what my grade is going to be when it gets to be my turn.
Definitely, I'd give him an F if that's on the
Yes, I
scoreboard.
think it is.
I don't think he's doing his job. What he's done to the border has been it's been a fiasco. So that's what I would say. But
Yes, I would agree too. I would agree. And you know, so what? Before I go into Dell, let me ask you this too, Jenny. So, was it a mistake for him? Oh, I hate to say it this way because my Trumper friends are going to text the hell out of me. Was it a mistake for him to reverse Trump stuff? Should he have left it in place longer until he at least kind of knew ahead? Because I know he's bringing the wall back now. First it was 13 miles, now it's 93 miles, and I heard today it might be 170 miles. So he's bringing that back. I'm just thinking, was it just an outright mistake for him? I know he's not going to admit to it. I'm not even asking him to do so. I'm just asking y'all, what do you think? So before we pass it to Dell, what do you think? Do you think he screwed up by just jumping out and cutting the Trump's executive order just bam when he came in?
I think it was a mistake. I think he should just left it well alone. Why fix something that's not broken? I mean, that's my opinion. I think he should have just left the wall. He should have continued to build it in the first place. He should never have stopped it. And telling people to come on in was the worst mistake he ever did, because he just opened it up to everybody, not just the Mexicans. It's all over the place. There's people that are coming in that they're terrorists.
And yeah, they fessed up. Well, they're not completely fessed up, but they fessed up. They've been 2 Hamas guys caught down there. Altogether, there's been 11 Middle East terrorists caught in the last 3 weeks trying to cross our borders. Worse than that, one of them managed to get into our country and got busted crossing into Canada.
Mm-hmm.
He was going into Canada for some reason, so they busted him up there trying to get in there. I'm thinking, Jesus, man, this just is a nightmare. You know, and I live in the South, which bites because they're flowing in through the southern borders, and it always worries me. But anyway, let me Dell, what do you think, man?
Yeah, see, I probably wouldn't even give him a grade. I'd probably give him something like a NA, like a non-applicable or incomplete, because you know what ends up being out of here is that this is, I think, the whole function of what the Biden political force was to try and to disassociate them from anything that Trump did was good, even though that he put a lot of things into effect that was to make a strong economy for the U.S. on home soil, protect its borders, protect this the area, that it would be something that you could grow and build the country back up so it wasn't going out to foreign markets. And so when the whole campaign of what the Democrats was just to reverse everything that Trump had done, when there was actually some good things he did. A lot of other things were probably pretty bad, but the borders was actually a really strong point. And so when he had all that part put into place and he caused the stop, the flood came in, and he didn't even listen to the people that were working down there going like, this is a crazy mess. They just totally obliviously avoided the whole question and said, nothing's going on down there. The flood in that's coming in, it's all just make believe. So they were in this whole thing of denial. So now you're at this point there now, his 100 days or whatever, his couple months have gone by. And people are realizing now is that maybe this person we elected here that did all this crazy stuff and tried to change the country, maybe he's just crazy Joe Biden, Uncle Cracker Man, and maybe he's not the best person that we should have elected.
I have to agree with that. Unfortunately, Biden scares the bejesus. You know, before I let Michael go on here, when Stephanie and I were hosting way back when Trump ran the first time, I'm not going to lie, Trump scared the living you-know-what out of me. I was like, oh, my God, this guy's going to get in, go ape shit crazy. And I wasn't scared financially because he was pretty sound financially. 140 companies, only 4 went bankrupt. So I wasn't thinking he was going to hurt us that way. It was just other ways I was worried about. But he managed, somehow or another, he managed to get through there. And I noticed now, with a friend of mine circulating his $5.05 gas prices around on the internet, he said, I don't get it, Joe. He said, when Trump was president, I was paying $2.22. He said, I'm paying $5.05. I said, don't feel bad. So when Trump was president, I was paying $1.28. I'm paying almost $3 now. I said, so look, I'm feeling the pain too, my friend. I said, so it's just one of them things. But anyway, Michael, go ahead. What do you think about Uncle JoJo?
Number one, gas mileage is for wimps. Right.
8 miles a gallon.
Number 2, Joe Biden. Joe, you said it a long time ago. He's going to get in there and run things how he wants to run things because he has to show people what he's made of. He's that guy. Oh, I'll take you outside and kick your ass, or he's like that crazy, angry old guy at the CVS who's mad because his prescription prices went up, but he doesn't realize he's the one who caused it to happen to begin with. He is gonna just ride Trump's coattails in a lot of ways. He's continuing on. He's an old world Democrat, which in these days that almost means Republican, with the new age Democrats that are out there to tear everything down. But these are the keepers of the machine. It doesn't matter who's there because they just want to keep people down low enough so when they throw you a bone, you're appreciative, and then you fight over it with everybody else so they can go on and continue doing their game. And that's really what it is.
It is, and in a lot of ways it is. But look at Sean, man. He's all pretty and stuff. He's making me look bad, man. I'm just saying. He's just making me look bad here. Laura Lee's never last. How did this happen? She's just like first and second. Go ahead, Sean.
I know. Look at her.
Uh-oh. Makes me nervous of being all quiet down here in the corner like that. That scares me.
You're like isn't that sexualizing or something, man?
What it is.
Is that sexual harassment? I think this guy.
Sean.
Yeah. I admittedly sexually harass Sean all the time.
That's funny.
Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Okay. On the thing of Joe Biden, I just think he's an idiot, to be honest with you. I don't think he's calling all the shots. I do believe there are other people that are pulling his strings to make him call them shots. But a little off the subject, maybe. My question to you guys is, why do you think Kamala Harris has not been down to the border yet?
Because she's scared.
She's scared.
She's scared.
She's scared.
She don't want to go to the border. She might not do it. She's scared physically and she's scared mentally because this could be the end of her career. Taking on anything border related, because it's going to be a disaster for at least the next 2 years. So it could literally be the end of her career. So if I was
okay. I was just wondering because I hear it all the time that she's not going down there, and I just she's the vice president of the United States. Should she not?
She's not a real vice president. Have you ever seen her go anywhere? She's always just standing behind Biden. I've never seen a vice president do that before. Every time the president comes on, vice president.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That she's always behind him.
It scares me. Like she's gonna pull out a knife and it worries me. I mean, the girl's messed up. I mean, she was after all. She worked well. We'll talk about that in a little while. Because I want to let Laura Lee have a chance to answer. But go ahead, finish what you're saying, Sean. So I can turn it over to Laura.
Oh no, I want to listen to Laura Lee.
Yes,
haven't heard from her.
Where do you start with Biden? Again, I have to agree with Sean. I don't think he's pulling all the strings. I think he's after his Michael. I think he's riding on the coattails a lot of Trump. What always angers me, and the same thing's going up here in Canada, if we hadn't heard from an independent news source that we have Roxham Road between Quebec and Ontario, and anybody you guys were picking out were being sent up, and the RCMP or Royal Canadian Mounted Police were carrying their suitcases over. And my whole point is, whether it's Biden or whether it's our Mr. Pink Pants up here, is the fact that we're not looking after our own people. How many poor people do we have? How many homeless people do we have, especially with what's going on? And we should be looking after our own. Never mind, like you said, Jenny, terrorists coming up here, dangerous people, gang members, drugs, and the taxpayers are paying for this. And I think that regardless whether it's Canada, the US, anywhere in the world, we should be looking after our own citizens first before giving handouts to everybody else, because there's a lot of problems that need to be fixed in these two countries.
Absolutely.
Yes. First one is we need to fire Mr. Pink Shorts.
Yes.
And we'll get to him too before anybody starts texting me about who the hell is Mr. Pink Shorts. To answer Richard's question, no, it's not Fox. I got fired from Fox, dude. They said I was way too liberal. They said I should never back women's rights and stuff like that. I was like, what? So anyway, we'll talk about that. That's for a whole nother show. That's not for this one. For this one, we're just talking about, Biden's first 100 and how many days what are we in May now, right? So we're at 120 days, 150 days in. And so far, he's been scary, unpredictable, showing signs of maybe some retardism. and has written more executive orders than the last 5 presidents combined. That's what scares me. This guy says, all I ever heard from him the whole election, we're going to be transparent. I'm telling you, this is how it's going to be. We're going to tell you everything we're doing. We're not going to do. We don't need to do executive orders. Don't you understand that? Okay, yeah, I agree with you, Uncle Cracker. But when I'm let me write some executive orders, man. Oh shit, I can write pretty fast for an old dude.
Well, they ignore things. He turns, it's whenever the crisis is, he's looking somewhere else, and they don't want you to focus on that crisis. Oh, gas prices, man, or the border issue, or how about the fact that because of the crazy stuff from the CDC and all the conflicting information, now nobody wants to get the vaccine anymore, and only a third of people, so-called a third, I don't even believe that number, have been vaccinated. So, but he said, everyone vaccinated, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Did you see the statement from the Department of Defense when it comes to vaccination? It's almost a goddamn threat. And people better start paying attention to the ramifications of anything. Anything you get, and man, it's too much of a bum rush. There's no case studies. You don't have 10 years of information. You don't know what the hell's going on. It's just like, to get this vaccine for something that's seemingly not as deadly anymore, but now you have the mutation from India. They just found it in Utah. So, I mean, it's in the United States. It's in the UK. It's not going to stop because people said it's over. So, and then you got Las Vegas, no masks, no social distancing. Hey, you can smoke in there and all that. They're opening up the tap. They really are. And maybe they want it. Maybe they want that control.
Well, there's
a very sinister side.
I wanted to add that we were supposed to end the severe lockdown that we're in Ontario, the severest since this has happened.
Yeah, I heard it was getting extended, right?
Yep, it was supposed to be 6 weeks. Now it's indefinite until 75 to 80% of the population gets.
We're going to have to invade Canada. I'm telling you.
The vaccine, is that what you said?
The jab.
Yep.
Oh, so they're basically saying you are locked in unless you get the vaccine.
And if you don't, they have gone on mainstream media saying, no, it's not mandatory. But people that don't will basically be pariahs. You will be a prisoner in your home. You cannot access medical care, your job, health, shopping, anything. You will be a prisoner in your home if you don't do it.
Yeah. And
I already am.
Zeke Heil to Trudeau now. Well, I'm just saying, this is getting crazy. But anyway, before we go, I'm going to go back to Michael and we're going to make this circle back up. So, Mike, since you were talking about that a few minutes ago, so we're just going to hit Biden off. What do you think are his top 3 crises? And do you think he's done anything worth mentioning while we're talking about this? So go, Mike, you're next, Sean, and Laura Lee, and Dell, and Jenny, and me. So go ahead, Michael.
Biden hasn't. I can't put my finger on anything he's done except for deny things or look the other way or not take responsibility. I mean, he talked a lot of stuff when he was running for office, like they all do. And then now he's in, and now, you can hear him whimpering from behind. So, I think just Kamala's waiting for her turn. Exactly. I think Kamala's waiting for her turn. That's why she's standing behind him. She's ready to push him down the stairs and say, "Oops," or the wind blew him, or something, or it was whatever, man. She's ready. If you think that she's not that kind of person,
I think she's that kind of person. I don't have no problem with that. Sean, you next, baby.
Oh, okay.
He's just too sexy with that beard, man. I'm telling you, I'm not going to watch. I have to turn him off or something, man.
Hey,
It's just fun by you, Joe. You swing both ways.
I
I'm
kind
just
of
very
agree with Mike
insecure who I
on
am.
that.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm just so frustrated with the whole situation. I can't even, when he comes on TV, I can't even watch him. He gets me sick to my stomach, I just, how about that other day when he was at the Coast Guard thing, right? And he was making fun of the cadets from the Coast Guard. Did you all hear that?
Oh, no, I missed that. I didn't give a shit about that.
He went to their graduation and they never clapped for him. And then he came back and they joked with he made them feel low, so to me he don't exist in my eyes. He don't exist. And I don't know.
Well, he's
maybe
going to start
I'm wrong
wearing
at
pink shorts.
saying that. Maybe I'm wrong at saying that, But like Joe, and Mike, what scares me is Kamala getting in as a president, because we're in trouble.
I still don't
And
understand
that's
why we
my
can't
thought.
have a. I don't understand why we can't have a sexy first lady or a sexy woman president. Why they all gotta be scary, killer looking bitches? Did I say that out loud? Damn, I apologize, Laura.
But
Go,
even
you're
when you
next.
have somebody that supposedly is really nice looking, we have someone that's all people talk about is what your president or your prime minister is so hot. Who gives a crap?
Hey, that's right. She can do whatever the hell she
Have
wants.
3 heads if he did a good job and look like Godzilla, for God's sakes. I could care less, just do a good job. Same thing with Biden. I really, and again, I know I don't live in the US. We're 35 minutes away from the border. So we spend a lot of time in the States normally when we can cross the border. But, I can't really say that he's really done anything noteworthy, original, or really anything that he's promised. I have to agree, Sean. I can't watch him. Dell will watch him, and I can only watch him for a few minutes. And he makes me sick because I don't think that leftists change their spots. And, the stuff that he has done that has preceded him being president. Never mind the fact, are we even really seeing him? We've talked about this on this show before. I mean, there's been video of him supposedly having a press conference and his hand going right through the microphone. So what are we seeing? Is he even really there? Is he even showing up? Is he even really doing any interviews that he actually does? Like, to me, there's something huge going on here. And I hope that eventually it comes to the surface and we find out what it is. I don't know if we ever will. We'll probably all be the last to know. But no, I can't say he's done anything noteworthy.
I think I have to say upper right square, please. I just can't help myself. This thing's been down. Go ahead, man.
Well, what can you say about Joe Biden since he came in? So all it was his presidency was brought in because of the hate for Trump that was propagated by the media, the mainstream media, about how much he was going to be the worst thing for the country if he continued for another 4 more years. And this whole part about Kamala Harris, even when they were in their primaries and that was running against for the Democratic nominee, like she was totally against everything that Biden stood for, and they were both calling out each other. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're running partners for the Democratic Party, and you're wondering, how did this sort of little mix-up go in there? Who's pulling those strings in the background just to get this? So you have to also look too, is that half the country or voted for Biden, whether you believe election fraud or not that they got in, but there was still a large amount. He's in there, and now you're stuck with the repercussions of having what you have there. So you have to take a little bit of personal responsibility, I guess, as being a voter, that you allowed this to happen and just see where it goes. I think he took a lot of credit away from stuff that Trump had already implemented in there, and they went the whole thing that Biden's the whole thing, the 100 more days of mask. We've got all the vaccines. We brought them all in when this was in fact already pre-set up before Trump left office. So they're ready to go and jump on the fact and take credit for something they never did, and now and change everything that was there. And now people are going to start realizing, what did we get ourselves into?
It's what they do, man. They play the game. They're not geniuses. These people, they're just good liars. They're manipulators. They're master manipulators, as a matter of fact. But you got to count the numbers. Everything is math, Where is their representation? I mean, look at the markets. They're starting to crash and burn. Things are going bad. Already you can't get supplies. There's just no management going on. Trump was a great manager. He understood how business needed to flow. You need someone like that. Maybe not him, but you need someone like that to be at the stern and say, hey, man, this is what you have to do to get this ship in the right direction. But we don't have that. We have all the people that lied, cheated, stole, cutthroats. It's a whole organization. The Democrats is a criminal organization. How's that? They really are. And the things that they had engaged with, the riots, burning down police stations, they fostered and manufactured all of that. It would have never have happened without their support. And that's Obama and that's Hillary. All of them did it. didn't even tell people to stop. But what are the Democrats harping on? They're on the insurrection of D.C. Now they want to have a 9/11 commission to look into the insurrection, where all these fat losers jump through the window. I'm surprised half of them could even get through that window, even to get in. They let them in.
All right, Mr. Lou, let Jenny talk.
But they wanted them in there. You know what I mean?
I'm going to give me a switch. Not just like picking on Michael. Go ahead, Jen.
He hasn't done absolutely nothing as far as I'm concerned. I can't even tolerate his voice. I actually record his speeches because I get a kick out of it, and I throw him up on TikTok because he's like, he just doesn't. He's a weak leader. He has no business being in the White House at all. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he's a president material. He never was. He lies. He's just he screwed up so many things. So many Americans have lost their jobs because he killed the Keystone Pipeline. He's helping Russia with their pipeline. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care about the American people. All he cares about is just putting on a show and being a puppet for Pelosi. As far as I'm concerned, he hasn't done anything, and he has ruined America since the moment he stepped in office. He had ruined it. Everything that Trump did that was good, he screwed up. As far as I'm concerned, he's a weak man.
I think there needs to be a new way we handle executive orders. I think there needs to be like at least a 1-year moratorium, meaning that a new president has to wait at least 1 year before he changes them.
Absolutely.
See what happens. And that would suck for both parties or help both parties, because really, I watched Trump change some stuff that really was in good place for the country. And I watched Joe Biden do the same thing. I watched Obama and Clinton do the same thing. So it's just kind of sad that here we are in 2021. We have to put up with this kind of crap from our politicians. There needs to be some incentive to get real people to want to be president. People who actually give a shit.
Actually, Joe, you got a good comment in here, and I was going to add it. Do you mean to cut you off? It's Inner Peace Healing, who's usually Shady B. She says, I heard Kamala, as she put it instead of Kamala, was telling her staff to call her Prez. But how many times have we seen Biden in a speech actually refer to Kamala Harris president, and nobody corrects him? Nobody makes any. It's almost like they're getting people used to the idea of it.
Yeah, well, he said in the beginning he was only going to stay in for 4 years, and then he was going to step aside. We'll see. I mean, he is power hungry. And I told her, everybody kept telling me, oh, he's going to be ran. I said, no, he's not. I said he was pissed the whole time he was vice president for Obama because he wanted to do shit, and Obama told him no. He was just a token white guy. So Obama said, no, you're going to do what I tell you to do. Well, he wanted to prove it. As Mike and I have talked about on some many shows. He wants to show America, and he wants to show Obama that his way was the better way. His ideas were the better idea. But the problem is they're too close to Obama's ideas, and we already know his ideas failed. The whole reason Trump got in was because it was an answer to Obama. And if Biden pulls the same shit, either Trump will get back in or someone like Trump will get back in. Because the country's just going to say, well, screw this. We tried giving you idiots a chance, and look what you did again. So, I mean, it's at a point now, and it's already bad because a lot of my Democratic friends are like, what did we do? And I'll hear just an example. Good female. Well, a good female friend of mine, she's hardcore liberal. She goes, Joe, I hated blank, blank, blank Trump. I said, yeah, I know how much you hated Trump. She said, but I got to tell you, at least he had some idea of what was going on. And, one of the things and this is a good segue into this next topic, there's a lot of information. I'm going to pull some of the stats up while we're talking. But which party seems to foster more violence when they're in office? And I originally, when I looked at this a long time ago, about 10 years ago, I thought it was the GOP. I'd come out and find out I was wrong. But when Stephanie and I did 2 specials on this, and then we've done a couple specials since then, and for some reason, when the blues are in office, violence in this country is ridiculously bad. So there were more shootings in Joe Biden's 150 days than in Trump's first 3 years.
Agree.
Under Obama, there was 162 or 3 or more people involved shootings. That is all the other presidents combined doesn't have. And to today, all the other presidents combined don't reach that. The next highest, I think, is under Clinton. The Republicans seem to be quite lower than the Democrats do on all kind of violence, from people protesting in the streets. Like under Obama, there was a protest pretty much every day throughout the North. Even under Trump, there was protests, but they seem to be far fewer and spending far less money. It's a scary thing to, I'm all for protesting. I don't think our country should be tied down where it can't protest. But anytime you allow the protesters to do damage or destruction, I mean, so here we are, we're all talking about this little panel, this commission for the 6th, but we're not going to talk about anything that BLM did for the 2 years before that. Well, that's just going to turn into another lawsuit. It's all I'm going to do. That's prejudice. You can't do that. I mean, they invaded the Capitol on 3 occasions. And that's just under Trump. If we go back to under Obama, it was more. And under Obama, they got into the offices. But for some reason, that wasn't insurrection. This was. Yeah, we've gotten to the point in our country where we just don't go. But anyway, we're going to start with Jenny and work backward. Jenny, what do you think about violence in our country? Who should be at blame? Who should be doing something about it? Do you have any ideas how we could fix it? We'll let you go first.
Well, the Republicans, the right can't do anything. If the left doesn't like it, you're wrong. If it doesn't conform to their agenda, then you're in the wrong, and you can't even speak out. And it seems like all these rights, they all seem to be the like the Black Lives Matter. They're all liberals, and it doesn't. It seems like when the Republicans do something wrong, oh my God, they even the what was it, January 6th? It's all about if you do something wrong, if you're Republican, you're canceled. You can't say anything against them because no matter what, you're wrong. It doesn't matter.
Or censored.
It's sickening. I mean, it's anything you say that's not conforming to the left, you're wrong. And you can't even open your mouth on YouTube. I mean, I've been kicked off Facebook like 3 or 4 times. We're so stupid. I mean, it's just the things that you can't say vaccine. We're saying it. You say jab. Okay. You can't say anything against anything. Oh, I might have to like indoctrination, what they're doing in the schools. Okay. If you're white, you're wrong. It doesn't matter. Even if wait a minute. No, if you're a Democrat and you're white, you're right. Okay.
See, there you go.
No, it doesn't matter.
Why you tighties, man?
And it seems like the left are so violent. No, I don't know. I just find them to be very violent people because you can't say anything. And I mean, even in my own town, I mean, there's like, oh my God, my Trump signs. I mean, I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not afraid to say it. I put, after all this stuff that was going on with the border and how dysfunctional everything is in Congress, I stuck my Trump sign back outside. And I'm waiting. I haven't. I stuck it out. I said it's a nice little sign, and I'm going to keep it there because I just feel that everything is gone to pot. I mean, nothing is right anymore. In fact, sometimes I don't even like to put the news on because it's so depressing because you just see what's happening to. I mean, now the gas prices are going up because of the hackers, and it's like, oh my God. And now that if you wear a mask, if you don't wear a mask, oh, you must be a Trump supporter if you're wearing, or you're a conservative if you're wearing a mask. If you're not wearing if you're wearing a mask now, or you're not wearing one. And then who knows? No one's going to know if you were vaccinated. Who's going to know? Are they going to give me a card? You know what? I'm not going to talk about the cards.
They do give you a card. That is something we're going to talk about later in the show because we're going to bring up the stats on vaccinations in a little bit. But anyway, let me jump down to Michael because he's being quiet, which is making me nervous. Michael, what do you think, baby?
About
Orly, you next.
Which part?
What we were just talking about. Go ahead.
About Biden.
Yeah, we know you love Biden and you voted for him. Go ahead.
You know what? You got to look at the future. We have a thing that we're facing that's a lot bigger than what we faced even last year. They're downplaying it. They're looking the other. They're doing exactly the same goddamn thing they did a year ago, as a matter of fact. So people don't learn from their mistakes. And then I'm not going to sit there and say, well, I'm going to trust these politicians to make the right decisions for me because they never have. They never will. They don't do anything for anybody. And it's like y'all said, man, if it's the Democrats, whatever they do is okay, including rape and pillage and plunder. It doesn't matter. Pedophiles, it's okay. Okay, the Democratic Party. But Republicans, whatever good they do, it's kind of like, all right, it was 100 degrees out today. Did I sit there and say that's Joe Biden's fault, man? I goddamn 100 degrees and he's not doing anything about it? But people said that about Trump. People so when you have these ignoramuses running around, and there's a lot of them, now you're seeing these mass shootings again. Man, we didn't hear about that for a while. You have Kim Jong-un shooting missiles off again. We didn't hear that for a while. Oh, mysteriously, they got hacked, a pipeline, right? And they paid the $5 million ransom for the ransomware, which is stupid. But, they set a precedent. How come all this is happening under Biden? God forbid if that pipeline deal happened under Trump, they would be going crazy, and saying he's part of the Russian connection. Trump gave him the passwords. We know it, and we have information. So whatever, man, whatever. You can't win. You can't win with people who are twisted. You can't.
Yep.
Oh no, there's some wackos. Laura, the go. You're next.
Well, you asked if there's more violence. I think it's very obvious. Even while Trump was still in, and yes, I am a Trump supporter too. Very proud. Good for you, Jenny, putting that sign out. Proud of you. But the thing is, you know what? I think things ran a lot more smoother. And as an outsider looking in, Trump couldn't be bought and paid for. He had his own money. He ran the country like a business. Was he always likable? No, but it didn't matter about his personality, because I think he really cared about America. I think he cared about the people in the country. We saw that things were a lot better economically. We didn't hear about the violence that we're seeing. Like, would you say Biden's been in 120 days? Never mind the executive orders. Never mind the censorship, because you don't have it. You can't say anything. Even if you can get it out there, yes, then you're wrong if you're on the right. But if you can even get it out there, because the only place you're going to hear about it is if you're looking for it, or you're going to go to an independent media source, because it keeps getting censored, or people don't know what to believe half the time, especially, people older. I'm finding that, I remember growing up, you heard that, I think it was Walter Cronkite or one of those networks, that it was news you could trust. Well, I don't think Project Mockingbird has ever ended. I know it ended in 1976. Supposedly, it's just got a different label slapped on it. And now they're overt about what they're doing. So I think it leads to violence. But you know what? The old saying, follow the money. You can see who's paying for this to happen, why it's happening. And I'm sorry, but it's with the Dems. It is.
Yep. Right.
Oh well, according to this,
It's
everybody's
much
been
bigger
vaccinated.
than that. Democrats is a little tiny nothing, man. You're talking about the World Trade Organization. You're talking about the International Monetary Fund, the very organizations that run the entire world. So the Democrats are part of that. You don't think that why Obama was moving towards that?
No, I
that global,
understand that.
yeah,
But
the
the
global.
question were things more? Was there more violence with Democrats or Republicans? So I know it goes much bigger. I think we all do.
It's the violence is what happened when the Democrats encouraged it through not just the summer, but the whole time Trump was in there. They burned down police stations, but they're vilifying those idiots that went to the Capitol building.
That's why I mentioned follow the money, because that's a whole show we could do on follow
right.
the money.
So it's the bigger game. It's a worldwide domination.
That's why I said follow.
Before I pass this up to Dell, let me ask you. Well, Laura, let me ask you and Dell this question. Y'all live in Canada, so is it true for the same amount of violence there? Is there more violence or less violence when different governments are in charge up there? I know how it is in the United States, because it's pretty easy for us. The stats pretty much track it out now.
That you guys have. So, like where we live, per capita, we're like one of the biggest places for violence and murder. But we live on the shores of Lake Superior. It's a waterway. We're not very far from the border. So you've got a huge drug trade. Then with drugs, you get poverty, you get prostitution, you get all kinds of things. You get crime, you get people murdering people. There's gangs. So I don't know. I can't say it's worse or better. What do you think, Del?
Yeah, well, we don't have it as the impact of what the imbalance is being marked on mainstream media as it is in the States, where we have protests that happen, and it's mostly protests against the government that's in control about imposing restrictions. Like, we're in a totally different lockdown state than what the U.S. is, and where the U.S. has sort of opened up a lot more. They've done and basically blanketed the whole of Canada, and have put these mandatory restrictions on and passed new regulations. They put in gun laws where they've gone and restricted gun weapons over some sort of false flag shooting that happened in Halifax. They just banned 2,400 types of guns that have to be returned into the government by 2 years, or you go to jail or face a huge fine. Like there's
Even though
a
you
whole bunch
own
of our Pink Pants Prime Minister has passed through some really crazy regulations and laws into effect. And he said this publicly on media that he glorifies King over in China, and he wants to build a society like that. And he's for this whole global agenda, this whole global 2030s for this totally. And so I guess the part in riots in Canada, they're not as burning down cities as they are in the States. And I agree with Michael too, is that there's an outside force that funds the Democrats. And you can see this. I agree with Janine. There's that also or Jenny, that our schooling, post-secondary education has been hijacked, where now you have all these millennial kids that are growing up with these really mixed up ideas of how the world should be. And they're going out there, and that's who fuels all these protests. And they're out there and they're willing to go and burn the system down, but they don't even know what the system is that they're burning down, and they don't know how to build a system out of it either. They're full of these really fluffy thoughts in their heads about how utopia should be, and this is why they glorify people like AOC and Green New Deals and stuff like that, where they don't actually know how to actually build a country or build a system and build something that's good.
It's always interesting.
I just wanted to add one thing to that. Sorry, Michael, was that our mainstream media is 100% funded by the government too. So the narrative the government wants out there is what we see, unless you're able to look at an independent source. Sorry, go ahead, Michael.
I just find it always interesting when they cite gun violence and then they take rights away from regular old people, which 95% of the gun violence is with illegal guns.
Exactly.
So they never talk about illegal guns. You don't ever, maybe a whisper once every few years, right? But they always talk about tightening gun laws, get more guns out of people's hands. There's a reason for that. We know.
Yeah.
Well, these people are legal gun owners of these rifles and all kinds. Like Del said, there's a number of them that they own legally, that they have a license for, and no remuneration for having them. You're not getting money for them, and if you don't hand them in, Del told you what the legal repercussions are, and that
damn communist is what it sounds like to me.
They will beat you unless you're Chinese, then you can have guns.
The chart
that's down.
Yeah, the chart that's up on the screen is for 10 or more dead on the shootings. And as you see, Lyndon Johnson's got the first one with just 17 dead. Ronald Reagan's got through with 40 dead, 54 injured. George Bush Sr.'s got 41 dead. Bill Clinton's got 8. George Bush W's got 8. Bill Clinton 62 dead. George Bush, Barack Obama 24. So he's got more than all the presidents before him.
Wow.
So just by itself,
but the shooters were Democrats.
I know all of them.
Yeah, and they're all also on some kind of psychotropic drug or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but you often wonder, just these people go out and commit these acts, and then it takes away from everybody else because then they want to take everyone's rights away.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Jenny on the spot here because she's nice and comfortable up there and all quiet and stuff.
She's chilling, man. I see.
I know she's chilling like a villain, man.
You got
she's chilling like a villain. So
that's cool.
So you see, we're talking about this. So obviously, looking at this chart here, the Democrats are far more violent than the Republicans are as far as deadly shootings go. Now, like I said, it's just 10 or more. If you go to just 3 or more, they almost quadruple the amount of shootings that the GOP does. And it's not just that. World violence seems to be less when there's a Republican president. I understand why it was with Trump. Kim Jong-un calmed down because, well, frankly, he scared Trump was going to put his foot somewhere that the sun wasn't going to shine again. And the Middle East calmed down. I mean, he actually had brought peace and release in my life. That's the first time I've seen it. We were bringing home troops. Saudi and Israel cutting deals with other states over there. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Yeah. It was starting to worry me a little bit, like it's the end times or some shit. And of course, here comes Biden, and we're right back there. But anyway, let Jenny go next. Let Jenny go next.
Before that, you opened up the door to Israel, so I think we should talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to open up. We're going to talk about that. We're going to let Jenny open it, actually. So, what do you think about Israel and all this other lovely stuff going on? See how
What do
sweet
I
she
think
looks like
about
that.
it?
Yes. What do you think about how our
I
world's
think that
going on?
I think that they have the right to defend themselves
I
against this
do.
terrorist group, Hamas. I think that, I don't think we should, they are our allies. So I think we should stand behind Israel as much as possible. And I think that Biden taking the credit for, the peace, the ceasefire and all that is ridiculous because, he's a plagiarist and he's lied his way through his whole career.
True.
I just think that we should just stand by Israel. And you know what they used to say that how could they even say that Trump was a white supremacist when his son-in-law was a Jew and his grandchildren are Jewish? That whole scenario is just has
Well,
never made sense
They
to
said
me.
everything. They said everything about him. Anything.
It didn't matter. Yeah.
No,
Whatever lowly thing they could do and say.
yeah, anything Trump did was wrong anyways. You know what? Why? Because they didn't like his nasty tweets. They didn't like because he said
because he hated the press and because he called out corrupt politicians, he called out corrupt press, which every
because he didn't want to he didn't know he's not part of the deep state. He's not part of the group, the rich, the elite, the Rockefellers and the Soros and all them. He's not part of that. You guys
you
should
got to
go
go
watch
back to Reagan to see anybody calling out the press, and before that, you got to go back to back to World War II almost. There's been very few presidents that have had kahunas to call the press out. And Trump did. I like that about him. And he didn't care who it was. I heard him. People were like, well, he loves Fox. I said, well, I've heard him call Fox out on several occasions.
They despised him no matter what. And no matter what the man did, they didn't like it.
So before we move on from this, what do you think? 2024 bid, should he go for it?
Well, I think him and, oh my God, having a brain freeze. The governor
Florida,
of Florida. DeSantis, they should run together.
Oh, if they run together, they'll win in a landslide.
Oh, definitely. But then the Florida people are going to be sad though because they like him as the governor.
Because they're saying right now, even the Democrats are agreeing that the Florida governor's got the best chance of being our next president.
Yeah.
Kamala couldn't run against him because Kamala doesn't have any prior experience, and standing behind Joe Biden with her finger, wherever it is, it's not going to help her any because the public's not seeing her do anything. She's not giving us confidence in her any type of leadership.
There's no way. The only thing that she has going for her, so-called, is she's black, and she's not really black. She's Jamaican. So
she's Jamaican.
Yeah, and she's would be the first black president. That's the only thing.
Jamaican and Indian.
Yeah,
she's a purple president. But Laura Lee's being quiet. She scares me. She's quiet.
She's formulating.
Yeah, she got the electric whip out again, dude. I'm just a little worried.
I had to go.
Whooping stick.
I had to go and disconnect it.
Do they have an electric whooping stick, man? Because I
yeah, she got one of these electric ones. Got a little taser thing on it.
I had to go disconnect it.
What's that, Deli?
I said I had to go and disconnect it.
You took your collar off?
He had to unplug it so it wouldn't charge. I'm sorry, Laura. Go ahead. We apologize. We digress there quickly.
But I have to agree with everything that Jenny said, and just everything that's been going on. I have to agree with you, Michael. You're absolutely right. That's where I was going with all the money, because I could have talked for an hour about all that stuff if we all could. The thing is, I don't understand why it's so difficult to just step back and just look at what's happening. Put your hatred aside. Put even Biden, just be, if you could just be objective and be the outside looking in. Like, I really truly believe in 2020 and 2021, it's not only been what's been going on, but it's been the death of common sense and logic.
And that's what they want, though. That's what they brought that.
I just can't understand this. And it's not like anything's been that overtly hidden. Yeah, you got to do a little bit of extra work than just, turning on your television set. But it's not like none of us had the time. And just to ask the question, why, what's going on here? Like, this doesn't make sense. And, 1 + 1 does not equal 2 here. And just to take a look and be objective.
Well, you're talking about people having some kind of common sense.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
90% of people are just followers, and
The sheep.
they're sheep, and they just kind of follow along, and they got one group over there, one group over there, and then they fight each other.
Idealistic, but the thing is that we're just playing into people's hands here, the powers that be. They want us all fighting. They want us divided. They want all this, and then they give it a little push and a little shove with BLM or with Antifa, or the Summer of Love last summer in Washington State, where they're and they set up, what was it, Chad? They let Chad.
That's her.
Yeah, Chad.
That is a.
We had an email come in. Should boys who want to be girls be allowed to play girls' sports?
Absolutely not.
I have an answer to that, and I believe it was from somebody that's trans on YouTube, Blair White, and she is not liked by the left at all, and she's actually a Trump supporter. I think she had a really good point, and she is female transgender, male to female. She said, there's got to be a dividing line here. I just watched somebody that claimed to be female transgender crack women's skulls in MMA.
Oh my God.
So what her thought was, if you've transitioned before you've gone through puberty and you haven't developed all that muscle mass and everything else, then okay. But afterwards, it's a no. I think that would be the only answer. It made sense to me because, right, and again, then it opens up a whole other can of worms, starting hormones, which they allow up here without parental consent in British Columbia as a teenager, same as the jab, 12 to 15, don't have to have your parents there, nor do they have to sign a consent. They'll let you make that decision. You can't vote, get a license, but you can decide for your health care. So go figure. Nothing makes sense anymore.
No, you can't.
My message for Spirit was, whatever you thought was up is now down. Just that simple.
You just can't.
It is kind of weird like that now. But let's go back to Israel now, because Trump, the Israelis really like Trump. I'm a little confused why any Israeli would vote for a Democrat at this point, especially after what Trump did last time. I mean, he straightened out the economy, which helped their economies, but he moved the capital back to where it was supposed to be. He stabilized the borders with the Palestinians. He stabilized the border with several other countries over there. So the Middle East was actually becoming a workplace where people could get along, and he was keeping Iran at bay. And here comes idiot, starts giving them money again. Iran starts blowing shit up all over the place again. I'm like,
I'm gonna read you three headlines, right?
Yeah.
And this sums Biden up. CNBC. Biden tells Israel's Netanyahu U.S. expects a significant de-escalation today in Gaza. Vox. Why Biden won't push harder on Gaza ceasefire. AP Wire. The latest. Biden says his party still supports Israel. That's it. He's not standing on anything. Nothing.
Because he don't know where to go. He's watching these stupid ass polls from CBS and NBC and all of these CNN, and he's trying to follow the poll when these polls are. And I've tried to explain this to people. I don't know why politicians don't know this. Polls really are taken before more than 100, usually max 1,000. Every now and then you'll see somebody do a big one, 30, 50, 100,000. At least then you're getting an idea of something. But any of the other polls aren't even worth talking about. I mean, 100 people out of 300 million. I mean, give me a break here. And it doesn't tell you anything. It just tells you, I was shopping in a mall in Massachusetts, and all of a sudden I talked to 89 liberals and 11 conservatives. Well, of course,
you say Massachusetts?
Yeah, it's Massachusetts.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go there if you can't pronounce.
No. I do that on purpose because a friend of mine who lives there.
I used to say Massachusetts.
I
used to say Massachusetts, man, just so I can say the S word.
No, he drives me crazy with the way he talks. He does. He drives me insane with the way he talks, man. I was like, damn, Jesus. I said, you're like from another planet or something.
Chowda. They say chowda.
But anyway, getting back to the Israelis, Jenny, what do you think? Shouldn't Biden be taking a firm get right behind the Israelis? Biden's a Christian, right? He believes in God. I mean, this is the
my God, that's a joke.
Well, I'm just saying he supposedly does. I mean,
he's supposed to be a Catholic too, but
still, he should want to protect the Holy Land. It's where the Christians came from.
Jesus was Jewish, man.
That's right. Jesus was a Jew. He should.
It's because he got those AOC and he got that other group, the two other. What's that?
Oh yes,
one who married her brother.
Ilham Omar.
Speaking of her. So somebody posted her ties with Hamas on Facebook, and they tried to get Facebook to take it down. Facebook said, "No, it's not. It's true. We're leaving it up." I was like, "Wow, Facebook grew a set for a change."
Facebook.
I was like, "Well, I noticed lately that he's been kind of laying off some of the conservative stuff again. Probably was costing him money." So I noticed they've been laying off of it a little bit. Even Twitter's backed off a little bit.
They're not important anymore. The Democrats don't need them. They don't need them to cause trouble and go out there and go after people's jugular vein. Now they're in. They don't need them. Right?
Hello.
Look at Cuomo. Look at Cuomo
But they're not really in, are they? I mean, they can't even get their infrastructure built.
Cuomo's one of the biggest Democrats that there is. I mean, he's the governor of New York State, for God's sakes.
Maybe we should send him to Israel.
He's not stepping down. He came out with one of my favorite lines. "I only lied to protect the truth." Man, I am going to remember that for the rest of my life.
I only lied to protect the truth. That's
right.
You got that from some president back in the day.
Talking about over the 30,000 something deaths in nursing homes that they lied about, that he threatened his health commissioner to lie. He threatened everybody around him, but he's not stepping down. He's not.
We're gonna get back there. We still in the Middle East, man. We'll come back because we got to talk about De Blasio and his lovely Annie.
Can't talk about Middle East without talking about New York City.
Yeah, well, that's true. But getting back to the Middle East. So I get a lot of people writing to me about this kind of stuff because, especially my paranormal friends, and I'll write in, well, Joe, isn't this the start of Armageddon, or is this the start? First off, because the Bible, this does fit a lot of the prophecies in the Bible. It also fits some of Notre Dame stuff. So a lot of people write into me and says, "It's the start." I said, "No, this isn't," because just the other day when they said, "Oh, it was all over the news, the Temple Mount's burning." Well, no, first off, it wasn't. It was not even any damage to it, but for some reason, all of the U.S. media decided to make something out of it. Nothing went on. There's just some flame out in the street somewhere. But so many people wrote into me saying, "Oh, it's the end of the world," because that's one of the first things, that Temple Mount gets destroyed, and then there's blood up to a horse's bridle. Well, first off, ladies and gentlemen, just to take this out of context, if you don't live in the Middle East, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Remember, it does say up to horse's bridle in the Middle East. I don't live in the Middle East. And if the asses are dumb enough to nuke each other off the planet, sounds like a personal problem to me. So I'm not going to get
into that. They've been fighting from the beginning of time.
I know. I'm not going to take it personally.
The old
The
Old Testament is a Jewish Bible. They maybe got some validity there, but the New Testament, they just shifted all the stuff around that they didn't like about the Old Testament. It made it all good.
Yeah, come on, but man. They had to get control of man. That's what the whole thing was about, was the control of man. I know. I got the Mormons on YouTube. Yeah.
The Mormon people used to run past my house, man. Run! They came to my door at one time.
I'll have to. If we got time in the show, I'll have to tell you a story about when I was bartending when I got out of the Navy. I was doing it for a friend of mine in the club, and I'll have to tell you about these religious people who came in and picked me up.
I want to hear some delicious Dell cooking story.
It's a story in itself.
I see you out there on the grill.
We was getting ready to ask Dell what he thought about the Middle East.
I want to go to Canada, do some violence.
But his country was like, China or somebody would want to go through Canada first, because there's not that many of them up there to stop, a billion Chinese. At least 300 million Americans all have 3 guns each, so that's 1 billion guns. So we're going to fight back. But Canadians might be in trouble.
Canadians are very docile.
Oh, Dell, is that true?
You're going to be resistant to the U.S.
I'm not believing that shit. Dell, is that true? Mike's full of shit. They're not docile up there, are they?
No, I think
the Mounties are violent people, man. The Yukon people and shit.
No, the thing is that you have to look at the space wise, right? And you look at like Canada space wise per country. We're a lot bigger country as per area, but we only have about 42 million people for all of Canada, whereas the States is like 320 something million, right? So you're a little bit more jam packed in the warmer climate. So there is a lot of spaces where people could jump in and hide around there, but most Canadians, besides the ones that are living in these big cities, they just want to be left alone and do their thing. They hate government interference. Like for me, like, we're up here, great. It says all I want to do is be here and go out to camp, drink beer, have a bonfire, catch fish, and just enjoy my life. The less government interference into my life, the better. I don't want them there. I don't want to have to pay for new, like what they brought in, fishing regulations, boating licenses, all these other tax grabs. We pay a huge amount of tax up here in Canada for such a small country. We are basically crippled. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, they will say, "Hey, Canada's got this free healthcare." No, we pay for it in the spades. Like we said this before, 60-pounder or 66er of vodka in the States is like $8 or $12. Up here, it's $80. Like that's just crazy pricing there. But
Are
I
you
don't
saying
know.
that I should get my drone and fly some steaks up to you, man? Maybe some tequila.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I think this. You
Yeah.
know what? Why not, man?
Hop
There's a
on
market for
drone
everything.
and come up with it, Michael.
They don't have a drone big enough to carry me yet. They will, maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day.
It's rocket powered. I saw that guy with the jetpack flying around. All I could think about was having a huge fly swatter, whacking him.
No, the plasma whip.
No, the Marine. He had this jetpack, and he was
Oh,
a
yeah,
fighting
plasma
Marine.
whip.
You don't want to be the Marine up in the air like that, man. Like, come on, with a gas jetpack on your back. Come on, man. I'm much more sinister than that. Some sucker sitting there. You ever see a movie called Air America? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, about Laos and the CIA drug trade and the whole bit. There's a comedy movie though. I don't know, Mel Gibson. In the beginning, this old farmer's walking through a field. And he's got his old ass gun, and here's a big C-130 flying over. And then he takes his gun, just shoots, bing, and then ends up like shooting the thing out of the sky. You know what I mean? Like people don't realize you're vulnerable up there, man. Vulnerable, I say. So Canada's got 37 million people, 37.9. And California's got 39 million. Do you count your illegals though? Because we don't count the illegals. You know, I mean,
they're not considered illegal because the RCMP helps them over the border. And we didn't know about this. None of us knew about this. We heard about it on an independent news channel. And again, they don't always get it right, but Rebel News or Dan Dix, those are the kind of people that have been silenced. But if we didn't hear from them, nobody in Canada would have a clue because, like I said, your news at least isn't 100% government funded. Ours is. So whatever narrative they want to put out there, they put out there in the mainstream media.
And I see how they're arresting people for free speech up there that have their own channels on YouTube or whatever. You know what I mean? They're chasing people down.
C10, if that goes through. We said we're leaving the country because
I'd be leaving too. I'd be moving up there like Jenny. See, Jenny, she lives up there a lot. They got lots of room up there. Look, so I'm gonna post this up real quick.
Are you in Canada too? Is everybody in Canada but me?
No, I'm in Pittsburgh.
She's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
She's in ex-Trump country.
King Wolf.
I got my buddy there, Tom Savini, man.
So look, so this is the thing about
Tom?
Obama. This is about Obama and his 162 mass shootings that happened under his presidency. I think it's 5 or more people dying in a shooting. You could take every president since the start of this country. They don't even get within a third of where he's at. Not even within a third. Now, this is the great part about this is Joe Biden's already in his first 3 months earned the most mass shootings of any president in the first 4 months of their presidency.
There it is.
So him and Obama are setting records on killing people and it's throwing up stuff. But yeah,
no one says anything about it.
Well, some people do, but if you're watching any, well, we do, but I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about One World America, BBC One, what's that one? Al Jazeera, One World,
RT,
One World News,
Al Jazeera,
Fox. They're all talking about it, and they're all decent sized networks nowadays. And then you got Newsy or whatever it's called, or Newsweek, whichever one the hell it is they're talking about. But just on the other side, you've got CBS, ABC, CNN, all going the other way. So there used to be decency in the media, and the fact that they tried to present it as a bipartisan, that you make up your mind based on the story. But that's not what it is anymore. Now it's all. I'm watching CNN the other day, and they're still trying to hate on Trump. I'm thinking, Jesus. And now they're suing the Southern District Attorney in New York for going back into Trump stuff from like 20 years ago. His lawyer's like, whoa, wait a minute. Some of this stuff is out of whatever you call it when it runs out of time. They're like, what are you doing? Well, he's president. We can go back. He's not. But the guy said, he's not president anymore, dude. What are you doing? He said, if you couldn't go back far back on a private citizen, what are you doing? So now it's a big mess going on up there.
Oh, but they are. You know how silly it gets? Even Facebook, calling me out on a picture that I posted a year ago, and they said you're suspended for 24 hours. A year ago, they're looking that far into the past to apply new rules and standards that they call their community standards. But it really is, the law is contemporary community standards, what that community is willing to put up with, basically. And Facebook doesn't call that. The community calls that. But look what they're doing. Look how they're training people. Facebook jail. I'm in Facebook jail. It's very oddball. I don't like it.
It is very strange. But Jenny, you next. Go ahead. What do you think? But Jenny's been in Facebook jail before. Now, personally, let me knock on wood before I say this.
Yeah,
I have not. Facebook loves me. I've got 16 pages on Facebook, and I publish all of y'all's stuff to boot. And
I was in there, and there was no pretty
trouble.
girls in Facebook jail. It was all the ugly guys I know.
There's some ugly bastards on Facebook. But anyway, Jenny,
we have a chat.
Yeah, it was the stupidest thing. Somebody posted a meme and says, "I would rather blank than date a liberal." And I said, "I'd rather jump off a cliff than I got in jail." Why? It was the stupidest thing.
Isn't it emotional damage? Aren't they hurting people's feelings, man?
I mean,
I got a little surprise from. I haven't talked about this much, and I can't talk about it too much tonight. Y'all know I'm suing YouTube, and I'm suing them in a couple of ways. We got 4 small claims cases going on, which actually finally are getting dates, but we've got 2 other lawsuits dealing with the United Public Radio YouTube page and some other stuff that's going on. We found that some of the stuff that we've recently been banned for, we found it on other pages on YouTube. So we've turned that over to the lawyer because, like, one thing they hit us for the other day on a new page, they said, "Oh, well, it was." They were talking about UFOs and gods, and they said it was misinformation. Like, there can be misinformation on UFO and gods because nobody knows what the hell it is. So how can they be misinformation? That was just outright ridiculous. But worse than that is when I did a search on YouTube, I found it in 11 other locations. So I was like, really? You're just taking off mine, like with Kathy's stuff. They've hit us on Kathy's twice. All it's still on her page. It's been up for months. So we turned all of that over to the lawyers, and it's bothering me. So the lawyer and I got to talking about this. So the social media companies have hung this up. You're going to see this over the next year. The liberals will try to protect them, but they won't go too far because we're too close to the 22 elections. And if you start taking up for these big companies as the election, you're out. You'll lose. You'll lose in a big way. It's already, remember this, the Democrats are already losing 11 seats in the next election before it even starts because of the census. 7 seats they've lost completely, and 4 seats that the Republicans get. That's 11 seats before they even start. So the Republicans have already actually technically already taken the House and the Senate in the next election. So there's a problem for the Democrats. They can't really be seen anyway because this could be a major loss for them. So they're going to have to be real careful. Well, what we started discussing is all these companies identify as what? Social media. So under the laws of media, you cannot stifle media from free speech. It is illegal under the Constitution. So therefore, if you classify yourself as social media, you cannot, your reporters or your media agents, which is us, cannot be stifled under the Constitution. They're in big trouble now. I don't know how they're going to deal with this, but it's go. But hold on, Michael, we're going to let Jenny go first, and Michael and Lord Reed and Dell, and then I get a break. So Jenny, you're first.
What was the question?
Oh, listen to it. No, we're talking about how are the Democrats going to handle social media over the next year now that they found out that this is going to be started looking at more as us as media agents. Therefore, our free speech can't be stifled. And I think they already know this because I have seen a change in these companies recently. But go ahead.
Well, how are they going to change it? I mean, how are they going to react to it? I mean,
yeah, how are they going to react to it? Because it's already starting now. I don't. It's unfortunately for them, people are starting.
Well, they're starting to come around because they're being canceled for everything or getting censored. I don't know. I think that depends on, you mean the next election going forward, or just from now going forward?
Well, for like that, because think of it like this: YouTube has lost a bunch of people to networks like Gaia and BitTube and YouTube and stuff like that because of their censorship. So with the country starting to look at social media as we're the press agents or we're the reporters because it is social media. So when you're posting on your news feed, you're the reporter. Mm-hmm. So under the law, you can't stifle free speech of a reporter or any media agent for that matter. So if you're listed as social media, therefore that means we're all media agents. So this is going to be a new thing that they're going to have to deal with over the next year. And I was just thinking, what do you think? Do you think it can be used? Do you think it's good enough to make the big companies bow down, or you think the liberals will just bury it for the?
I don't even know if that's going to help because the Zuckerbergs and the Twitter, whatever his name is, I can't stand the little boy with the beard.
Dorsey.
Yeah, Dorsey. They don't care. All they want to do is control. They're all about they have the money. They're controlling it, It's they want to control. It's just they're in control, and they're just going to keep doing it no matter what, because that's just the socialist agenda. And it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters if they're liberal or right. I don't think it matters to them at this point. All they care about is controlling us.
Well,
I don't think
I
don't think it's gonna. I don't think they're. I mean, I think the lefts are starting to come around saying that, yeah, you guys stop censoring us. I think they realize it now. So maybe they're going to have to do something with the Senate. It's going to have to do something. They're a monopoly. They have to break them up.
Well, and they're going to break them up. Before I turn this over to Mike, let me ask you this: what's the best way to get to a big company? Is to do what? Hit them in a pocketbook, right? So
advertising.
When crazy Twitter went nuts and banned President Trump, what happened to her? Well, the Germans threw him out the country. Mexico, they got thrown out of 50 countries. You know how much money that cost that man? That's why you've seen kind of a turn in what he's doing, because now a bunch of people are suing him, saying, no, you only hate on conservatives, not liberals, and you proved it when you banned Trump. Because right now, since Trump was cleared of any charges, what he did was illegal and unconstitutional. By law, there's actually 2 laws in the books that you cannot ban a president from speaking anywhere. So technically, the Pentagon got furious about it. Pentagon wanted to arrest the dude. That's why Zuckerberg immediately the next day flipped it back. Now, Zuckerberg's trying to put it off on his agency, but they're all saying that no, sooner or later you're going to have to let Trump back.
Well, do you know these ads, if everybody would stop advertising with Facebook, they'd change their mind. I mean,
and you're seeing
I don't advertise with them anymore. I used to.
I don't either. I let Laura Lee spend my money over there. But Michael, go ahead.
You know, it really comes down to communication. You know, if you can prove that people use these social media platforms to communicate with one another, which they do, they encourage having the dialer, internet telephone. They encourage having texting and all that. So obviously, it's forms of communication for people in the world, not just the U.S. So for them to restrict that is very damaging to, it could be damaging to a whole culture, man. You don't know, so. That's one aspect. And also, if you are reporting and they do stymie you, they say that because they're private, it's a private corporation, they can do what they want to do, and they can, whatever they want on there, they can have. Whatever they don't want. But it really comes down to how you present yourself. And look at the FCC laws, or Public Service Commission has a lot to say about things like that. So we'll see what happens. You need a lot of lawyers to get involved. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do, they screw everything up.
Well, they do. Well, that's the problem with lawyers. Who's up next? Dell was up next. Bob is taking over moderating, by the way.
I just think it's funny about how this whole censorship sort of thing went. That the Democrats were all for it. There, it was great to get Trump off of there, and all. They kept on the mainstream media kept on talking about his tweets. That was all just news. That was like for 4 years, big huge news going on. And about what is the president tweeting about, and then they finally get him kicked off just before the election happened.
Yeah.
But I think another part that was funny is that about Facebook is, and this is crazy. This is a thing that happened to me just before Christmas time. Is I was on Facebook sending a message in Facebook Messenger to a friend of mine, private message. It wasn't being posted on the page or nothing like that. And basically, we were making a joke about butter and an old granny, and I took a screen grab off of Google of Nina Hartley in black lingerie, no nudity at all on this thing. I posted the picture onto my message and hit send. And 2 seconds after I hit send, Facebook sent me a message. You are banned on Facebook for 2 weeks. You're put in Facebook jail. And I go, what are you talking about? This is a private message. How are you reading my private message? How did you even know what this is? 2 seconds after I hit send. And they said, well, if you want to contest this, and I'm going, yeah, I am contesting this. This is wrong. They said, well, we don't really care about you. You're just put in Facebook jail for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
They don't care. What do they care, man?
Says you're one person. Like, I don't have any advertising revenue with them, right? I'm not bringing in dollars, so they don't care about me at that point. That's the thing, is that these big social media companies, they make all their money on advertising and selling your information. That's where they're making all the money. You are the product, right? So they don't care about what their rules are. That's what they've been fighting about. Well, we're not really a media company, but you are a media company. But then also they're censoring people. What they're going to find out over the course of this next little while Biden's in control here of the presidency, and other people are starting to get censored, and the control is going to be lost. They've already given away control on this. The social media companies have gone somewhere else. They don't care about government. They don't care about whatever. They're going to do what they're going to do, and there's nothing that they're going to do anything about it. It's gone. They've already gone and bred all these people in college and university to be free thinkers, think towards the future, this enlightenment where we can do all this stuff and wipe out all these old people that looked at capitalism and control the old way. We just will fight against them, we'll fight against the machine, and that's the way these people think, and that's the way it'll stay till 2024 and beyond.
2024 and beyond. Laura Lee, you up, sweetie?
Well, you were asking about, if I remember correctly, about censorship and what was going on in the U.S. But what I want to add is, you were wondering if it was going to get better or worse. I was mentioning very briefly, we've got Bill C-10, and Dell mentioned this earlier, that our Prime Minister has been throwing in all kinds of laws over the last year that Canadians aren't aware of. But the reason why I mention it is if this goes through, we basically, like I said, our news is already 100% controlled. Everything will be controlled. The Prime Minister and government and power will get to choose what we get to see, what we get to watch. If you use a VPN and you watch something that is not allowed, you can end up with huge fines or go to jail with this new legislature. On top of that, like you were talking about us as being independent news reporters, when we're using social media, we can be jailed and fined for saying something that is not allowed in this new legislation, and 90% of Canadians aren't even aware of this. So you're talking about
sounds like China.
Yeah, so you're coming to, if this is coming to the US, like it not quite as severe, like what's going on here? We know what country is like this. We know that Biden's had ties to China. Like, is he starting to bring some of this stuff in too? When you mentioned, party versus party with censorship and what you can say on social media, what you can't, because never in the history ever has there been a president for a presidential election basically silenced. And Joe, you even mentioned this after, I think it was you one night on the Centralist here, about, it might have been you or somebody else, but they were saying, I think it was 20% of people that voted for Biden, had they been aware of Biden's son's laptop, they might not have voted for Biden. Yeah. Well, it was there. It was always there. All you had to do was look.
They still got to contend with the 10 million unregistered voters that the Democrats haven't yet proven. But I'm not even worried about that. Arizona found some discrepancies. Pittsburgh, now in 5 of the states where originally the lawyers said, we don't care about the change in voting laws, it's all over been turned. That's not going to help Trump. Even though it may prove Trump, Biden didn't win, they're not going to they would have to, all 5 would have to be overturned. All 5 judges would have to come back and say, well, yes, the votes are illegal and they have to be cast out. And then what would happen is the election would be null and void. But then what do you do? Is Biden going to actually step down and let Trump take over? That's going to be a tough one, especially with the Democrats controlling the House and the Senate. That would be tough to even.
Well, didn't you say within the first year something?
They're supposed to. The law specifically states if you can prove an election was fraudulent in the first year, that the person has to be stepped down or removed from office, which would have to be done by probably the Secret Service or the CIA.
Yeah, there's a lot
or the military.
Arizona, there's a lot of stuff going on that they're not even talking about.
Yeah, they made Biden stay out of it. Biden was going to send people down there, and they told Biden to stay out of it because it looks like you're trying to cover up something that'll just give them more fire.
Well, we got
Pittsburgh said the same thing, though. The judge said that he overruled the other judge, saying that no, it is relevant, and yes, they did break the law by changing all 5 of the voter states had changed their laws prior to the election without going through their House and the Senate first, which is illegal. It has to be ratified by the House and Senate of each state. So all the votes are technically null and void. But, they're going to push it out past the first year. And if they do, it doesn't even make any sense for Trump to pursue it, because after the first year, they can't make him step down. They'd have to let him go through and have to have a new election. Even though they could call a new election while he was in office, like in 2022 in November, they would have to leave him there until such a thing had happened. So
all I was going to was we got Zach Man in the chat. We got quite a few people in the chat actually, but Zach Man is in Arizona, so I'm sure he'll share something in here if he didn't step out. What's going on, what he's hearing at the local level, being in
Happy birthday, Zach, man. It's his birthday tomorrow, man.
I'm glad you know. I didn't even see that. Yeah, happy birthday, Zach, man.
Yeah.
Smoke a good one for me, baby.
Supporter of our network. Well, we got Shady D. She's a regular supporter. And we've got somebody new, Rosianna Kakamo. We got a few people over on Facebook. I always like to give them a shout.
Sally wants to know my secret for not getting banned on Facebook. You want to know the truth? I dated Priscilla Chan's mother when I was younger, yes. Priscilla Chan is Zuckerberg's wife. Yes, I dated her. She might be mine, as far as I know. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, it was about 25 years ago. So I'm just saying. Yeah, she was fooling around her husband. Shh, don't tell anybody. Yeah, how many people are listening? Now, y'all, shh, don't go around blabbing. How many 100,000 people are listening? Now, shh, be quiet. Y'all keep that a secret. It happened, you know. I was young. She's a little older. I like older women anyway. So I married one. So I tell you something right there. What can I say? No, people, before y'all start writing to Zuckerberg, we know what happened. So Vladimir Putin, I wanted to get into this because I know we're getting short on time, but so Vlad basically said, you stupid bleeping people around the world, if you get in my way, we will crush you. It's not exactly how he said it, and I can read it word for word, but he basically said, if you F with my country, we will crush you. So who was he talking to? It wasn't China and America. I doubt it was even India. Well, Britain might even give him a fight. So I'm not sure. We must have been talking to the Middle East or maybe he's talking about New York. Well, I'm just wondering who it was the way he said it. Oh, yes. And before we go there, for the states with negatives, California's number one this year, 2.5 million out. Yeah, so they said it's the first time they've ever been in a negative, which is bullshit, but we'll let them say it. But 2.5 million people moved out this year. That's about an 18% increase. New York followed with a short second. Most of the states that are increasing are southern states, with the exception of some north central states. Yeah, like the Dakotas. Don't ask me who the hell wants to live in the Dakotas, but I guess people are scared of COVID and moving up there. But look, people in the Dakotas, I'm not hating on you. Okay? It sounded like I was, but I'm really not. I just don't know why anybody wanted to live up there. People tell me all the time, why would you want to live where hurricanes are? So I can understand it, I guess.
Zach did add in the chat, just so you know, from Arizona, he added that most people down here are pro-Trump and believe fraud did occur in the last election.
Where is he in Arizona? What part?
I think he's close to Flagstaff, if I remember. But Zach, I know you'll put it in here. He says, thank you for the birthday message, too. And Rose said hi from the chat. So.
My sister's in Sedona.
Sedona. We're going to have to do a show about Sedona in the upcoming future. Yes. Anyway, it says, Vladimir Putin warns Russia will knock their teeth out if other countries hinder its advancement. And who the hell Well, Biden ain't got no teeth, so I guess we ain't even got to worry about it. Was he going to knock his gums out or something? So obviously that's not a threat to us. I'm thinking, that sounds like the old Russia back in the day, the communist Russia. Maybe he's going to invade Pennsylvania. Maybe. Or maybe the Northeast or something. I don't know. Go up there, take over.
Knock out your sense of smell. He would have been talking.
I think if he was going to invade anybody, it's going to be Vancouver. They're also high up there. They wouldn't even know for days that it had been invaded.
That's what you keep saying. I don't know. I don't hear that from people.
I hear that all the time out there in Vancouver. People get high. From what I hear, the whole town just stays high.
In Vancouver, Canada.
No, but I know several radio hosts up there, including our own famous, Scotty Boy. And they all tell me the same thing. They just get high all the time. They walk around in Vancouver. It sounds like really cool out there.
He says, just east of Phoenix in Maricopa County.
But anyway, I know where he's at, actually.
Yeah, I know where he's at.
So since Jenny's been patiently being such a nice and supportive person tonight. So for we got to look at Biden overseas. How's he doing? So we've got North Korea, being North Korea. We've got South Korea saying that we need to go put weapons against North Korea, which just scares me. Of course, we've got this mess going on in the Middle East. And then we're bringing troops back, or we were bringing troops back from Afghanistan until, somebody went ape shit over there and started blowing stuff up. So for you, Jenny, and then we'll go Dell and Mike and Laura Lee. Well, Laura Lee's been last all night tonight. It just sucks when you last. It's like being the bad kid that nobody wants to pick.
Save the best to last.
but so Jenny, I mean, first off, how do you rate America's handling of the around the world things going on right now? And while we're on that, a little about COVID too. Now we got to be careful with the COVID people, but obviously. So how do you think Biden's been rating overseas, and also how do you think he's been handling what I guess would be the COVID pandemic? But anyway, Jenny, I'll tell you next.
How I rate him, or how the world rates him?
Well, how you rate him and how the world rates him.
Well, I rate him as 0. I mean, I think the world, I think he's an embarrassment. I think they laugh at him. They think he's a weak president, and they probably think that if they want to do something, they can do it and get away with it because he's not going to do anything because his leadership. He's a fumbling fool. He has no business being the president. He's to me, and I know I think they believe it too, that he has dementia and he's like a puppet. Oh, is it okay if I talk to the reporters? Is it okay? Where's my mask? Where's my mask? Oh, I got to wear my mask. Remember that? That was ridiculous. I mean,
he does that a lot too.
In the COVID situation, Trump is the one who got the vaccine, and all he did was he's rolled it out. I guess that's it. I mean, it was made.
Trump was up to 1.3 million a day when he left. So
yeah, I don't know
that much better, but
he didn't. He's not. He didn't do anything. He listened to. Well, I can't say that because Trump had Fauci. I don't know why he didn't fire Fauci in the beginning. He should be fired now because there's more stuff that came out about him being involved with the. I don't know if you guys heard about the testing AIDS on foster kids. He was involved in that. Yeah. Fauci's an idiot. He's a little mouse. Yeah,
he's about masks and admitting it now because he didn't get enough PPE. Like, hello.
He said he like, oh, I don't want you to wear a mask. But I remember Trump saying wear a mask before that. He said, "I'll put a scarf on you, do anything like that." But Fauci said, "Don't wear a mask." And he said, because there wasn't any. So instead of just coming clean, you know what? We have a shortage of masks. You should probably wear something around your face, but he didn't do it. He was a little weasel, a little mouse, a little rat. I can't stand the little dude. He's a little mouse. He just got. Trump to me. I'm not really sure little things about. I know the vaccine. He got that started, but Biden. He didn't do anything, and he still didn't. He gave it all up to the governors, and the governors screwed that up. They wanted to play king. I am control. You're going to listen to me. I like this. This is really cool. I can tell people what to do. You're going to stay in your house forever. You're not going to go out. You're not going to have school. You're not allowed to do anything. And if you go out, I'm going to arrest you. I can't believe some of the people that were arrested. How about those college students that were kicked out of school because they didn't have their mask on? I don't know. I don't think Biden did a good job. I still don't think he's doing a good job. Well, no, all of a sudden he says, okay, the virus is okay now. You can take off your mask. We have 50% of the people vaccinated. It's okay now. Oh, he only did that because he got himself into hot water.
Yeah. Well, last I checked, they said it was 64%. So for you, let me ask you this question before I turn it over to Dell. Thumbs up or thumbs down on having to have a vaccination card to show people?
You're asking me that?
Yeah, I'm asking you that. Thumbs up. Okay, that's good.
I'm not vaccinated. I'm not going to get vaccinated because I go on.
I glow. Ever since I got vaccinated, I glow now at night. But
no, seriously, reporting VARS, is that what it's called? VARES. Have you been on there? The reporting all the slide
vaccine event reporting system.
Yeah.
And they say that only 1% probably. Injuries are being reported, and there's been some reports they're 3 months behind with some of the reports that they're
it's bad, but there was like over 168 spontaneous abortions, and I don't understand why you would get a jab. I better say jab, so we might be listening. Get a jab while you're pregnant. I mean,
That I thought they was a no-no. I mean, all down
why
here that
would
was
you get? Why would you even think about doing something like that?
I don't see down here that was supposed to be a big time no-no. That was matter of fact, anybody under 12 is not supposed to get the vaccination.
No, there's no need for. I don't think if you have the antibodies, if you had COVID, I don't understand why people got the vaccine. I don't understand that.
Double up on protection, but we'll have to get into the types. That's something we need to talk about on another show. Oh, before I turn it over to Del, next Monday, we're going to be talking about on the Paranormal Show, and next Monday and next Friday, we're going to be talking about the release of all the Pentagon documents coming up in June and what's going on with that. So everybody's invited.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about it.
They'll cover it up anyways. They'll say,
well, it's a little different now, but we'll also be talking about Nick Pope and Dr. Greer's little love feud they have going on right now. But Dal, you've been listening. What you think, man?
Yeah, well, let's say what can you say about Joe Biden? What other countries think about him? So before he got elected in, by whichever means he got elected into, his son was running energy over in Russia and dealing with stuff over there. He already had Biden interfering with process over there so that Burisma wouldn't be looked into. Then you have Biden and his family in China making billion-dollar deals. All this that he's for the family Biden, and now he's into power. And when stuff was the country was against Russia interference, but all of a sudden mainstream media is saying that Trump is a Russian colluder with Russia. Biden's now in power, and so the Russiagate thing goes on, and he still keeps the guy that's the ambassador to Russia in. That was Trump had put into power. He has him back into power again. So this whole big, huge fiasco of Russian collusion, and you're keeping people into power that you try to push a narrative. It's all just a whole big magical dog and pony show, whatever, a magician's trick. It almost seems like the big prestige is going on, and everybody can see what's happening, but the people that are in the country that are seeing this believe it wholeheartedly that he's doing the best for the country. And that's what's sort of really, I find that's really perplexing, because even when I talk to peers around here and even family members and stuff like that, they're going, no, the news is saying this thing. I says, no, that's actually not what's going on. Well, you don't know anything. You're conspiracy theorists. No, actually look at what's going on. Nobody wants to do any research. Everybody's lazy. They figure that having their little phone, that whatever's on there, that's given the Bible truth. That's what's there. And that's what's sort of a really sad thing that this speed of technology has done, is that people don't research anything more than whatever they believe their Hollywood starlets and the people they follow, what they say. And that's sort of really funny. Like I watch Jimmy Dore's show a lot there, and he calls it a lot of this stuff, this hypocrisy with even the right and the left. And it's amazing that people like this are still in power. People that cause things like Fauci, like you said, this guy's also head of the NIH and other sub companies that dole out money, and it's just agreed that he's going to get. He's been supposed to give in a whole bunch of billions of dollars to go and dig up more viruses out there so they can test on these other viruses and make them into super viruses, gain of function technology. Rand Paul was just going over this with him in the Senate, talking about this gain of function stuff and calling him out in there. And this guy is bold-faced lying, and nobody cares. Nobody, like anywhere else, if this was in another country, this guy would have been strung up from a tree and people throwing darts at him. Like, this is just unbelievably crazy. And it just, I don't know, it's a circus. I like it, like you said there, Gene. I'm trying to watch the news less and less every day, because it's just so depressing, and it's just like nothing's changing. And I don't think anything will during this 4-year term. It's just going to be a big fiasco, and you're going to watch in the States and in Canada, prices go up. The price of lumber is like skyrocketed way up there with stuff like that. It's just unbelievable. Like gas prices going up, and I think this is the whole part of it, just to go and crash an economy maybe, so that this reset can happen.
It's been insane, Michael.
The whole thing doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to leave it there, because with the virus, the vaccines, and all the stuff, I mean, their campaign is failing because people are scared, and you have to, rest those fears, and it's impossible to do. So, and they say more than half the country is vaccinated. It's not true. It's about a third, and that's the first shot. A lot of people just got the first one. So I don't know, but I think when people think it's over, they take the mask off. They're not going to go get the vaccine because they think it's over, So, and then you don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of destination unknown in the situation, but there's something worse going on, and again, people just aren't paying attention to it. But you live and learn, hopefully, right? I mean, you guys in Canada have been locked down the whole damn time. I see your numbers spiking up. How the hell does that happen when people are locked down?
Our numbers
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insanity. Is what that is.
Us too, though, in the U.S. I mean, just the last, I go day by day, just the last few days. But man, look at India. Wow.
We have nobody in the hospital. That was reported today. Never mind the PCR test in Canada. The standard has been sent to 3 to 4 times the revolutions when they spin it in the test compared to what the standard is, what the rest of the world is using. And whether you see our numbers spiking or not, that is supposed cases. Never mind that our mainstream media, I have to keep saying, is 100% controlled by the government.
I keep forgetting y'all are
not lifting this. Our prime minister was just on the news, never mind the terrorist that runs Ontario, that we have to be 75 to 80% vaccinated before they will even consider lifting any of these restrictions.
How do they know it works?
Yeah. It's insane. And, it depends on where you go. But, I mean, the official government stats are that 64% of America has had 2 shots. And I was thinking about it when they said it because, Johnson & Johnson put out a thing yesterday saying they have only put out 20 million shots in the United States.
Right. Do the numbers.
So now they gave out 200 million to somebody the other day, but they've only.
Plus, you guys
they gave it 200.
AstraZeneca. It's
banned
in many places, but it's okay to give to our people.
Yeah. So 20 million in them. And I think Pfizer and Moderna said 30 million each. So that's about 80 million. That ain't 60% of the population. That's 1/3 of the population. Pretty much what you just said. That's about what that is.
Well,
now maybe if you add in the second shot, it might break 50%. But
you had Johnson & Johnson's plant down there in Baltimore, and people they went in there. They didn't wash or whatever, and they kind of contaminated everything. Those were millions and millions of doses that the government paid them for. There's so much money, and how do you know it's even that? How do you know it's not water in there, distilled water? And they're like, haha, let's just dump it out, say it was contaminated, and keep 40, 50, $100 million. It's a situation where you can steal all day long.
Well, that's like buying the $700 hammer at the end of the fiscal year to account for your spending, right? So that you can keep on getting the same amount of money the following year.
Yep. Just like when they shoot satellites into space that mysteriously go off and you never hear from them again. How do you know it's just not, old TVs in there or something, man? Like, it's not some $250 million rig.
Stuff like that you probably know because so many people work on it.
I was just going to add that somebody in the chat sent me a really good video. I sent it to most of you guys that I have on Messenger. And it's actually from a soldier that was a medic during anthrax, talking about the anthrax vaccine and what happened. And I think
band.
Pardon?
Oh, it's a great band. I'm sorry.
Anthrax. Well, Anthrax, the band was. No, but he's talking about what happened, and it's worth the watch. It's about 15 minutes long. And it's kind of sets the narrative and tone, I think, for what's going around all around the world. And she talked about different populations that were used versus the military. And I don't think that's just going on in the U.S. I think that's going on all over the world. Never mind the whole narrative.
Yeah. Well, I know we're getting kind of short on time here, and I definitely want to touch on this Tulsi Gabbard thing. But, the way things go on in the United States or around the world, and unfortunately for the world, a lot of the stuff that gets paced in the world comes out of our country or because of our politics or money or military. But right now, I notice China has kind of went back into its corner and quieted down for whatever reason. Russia seems to be a little bit more aggressive. North Korea just wants somebody to pat his little fat ass head is all that is. good puppy and stuff like that. I mean, but I mean, really, at this point, the United States is in a position where it can still change the world if it wants to. My problem I've noticed is that a good chunk of liberals and even some conservatives can't see why we should anymore. Um, it's okay to let China rampage. It's okay to let Russia rampage. It's okay to let Venezuela rampage. Really, why? Why, after we've almost extinguished communism from the world, would we even reluctantly let it back? So I'm going to start with Jenny on that. So, Jenny, think about why we would let it back. And I also think about Miss Tulsi Gabbard here. We'll do that first, and we'll come back around to this real quick. So, what do you think, Jenny?
About communism?
Yeah, what do you think? Since there's only I think 3 communist countries left in the world, why has all of a sudden the United States population, not so much the government, but the people itself, taking this approach to, well, maybe we should allow Venezuela and China and Cuba to remain and even prosper as communist countries? Why would that be? Why would any of our children or even our adults think that was a good idea? I mean, have we just become that ignorant?
I just think it's a bad idea. Communists, I think we're heading down that path. That's what I believe with all this, censorship and everything. And even like with Tulsi Gabbard saying about, if you're white, I don't want to be interviewed. There's China. Do you want China and Russia is bad? I mean, any communist country is bad. I don't think we should have anything to do with them. Unfortunately, we're going to keep doing business with China because it's so cheap.
Well, maybe, and that's for another show. But now before we move on, I'll let you talk about this Tulsi thing for a minute. So Tulsi Gabbard accused Laura Lightfoot that she's anti-white racism, which she is. Now, Laura Lightfoot, in case I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, is the mayor of Chicago. She made a statement to the press that she will only let press members, people of color press members, journalists, interview her. Now, that's racism. Now, if Tulsi Gabbard was saying, I only wanted white people to interview me, oh my God, the media would lose its mind immediately. It would be like a plague sweeping across not just the country, the world. Can you believe Tulsi said that? But for some reason, because Laura Lightfoot is gay and black, nobody wants to say anything about her. Why? That's an outright racist statement. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is, because 50% of the population in Chicago is white, I would sue. If I lived in Chicago as a white citizen, I would immediately contact.
You should lose your job.
I agree. But
we're in a world of overreach, and just like the whole sexes, the feminism thing and all that, because women were treated so crappily for so long, and the laws were tilted against them, or just the laws didn't do enough for single women, these men ran around back in the day. Now it's the opposite. Now, anything you get involved in, I mean, pretty much anybody can character assassinate you these days. It's a very easy thing to do. People have this fake outrage going on. They just want to attack, and everybody's got no shut off valve. Is that what's going on? People's feelings are always hurt. It's like ridiculous, man.
And guilty until proven innocent. Someone points a finger, and immediately you're painted with the brush of guilt and then try and wipe that out with cancel culture when you are innocent.
How about the illegal gun violence in Chicago and the fact that so many people get murdered every day, in the streets that they don't ever talk about? No, they're concerned who's white, who's not white. You can ask me a question, but it's okay because, people have suffered for so long, and then so people excuse this type of behavior, but it's racist. It's racist.
But that's the question. Is it okay for her to say this and still?
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Is it okay for the media not to say anything? Yeah, it's not.
No.
But the media thinks it's okay. They foster it.
Well, I learned something. I'm sorry, Jenna, what you were saying. I learned something from living in the South and running businesses down here.
What was it?
Affirmative action protects people of minorities. So you can't actually go after them. So if a minority, because most of the black businesses in the South only hire black employees. Not all of them, but a lot of them. The majority of them do. So if a white business was to do that down here, they would get challenged and even could be taken in a court suit. You cannot sue a black business over that, just like you can't sue BETV for naming themselves a black entertainment network. But if I was to start the white entertainment network tomorrow, I would be sued immediately. Mm-hmm. So this is a double standard in our country that's no longer will tolerate. When whites made up 80% of the population was fine, but now that we're 50-50 in the country, it's time to start taking a relook at these. I mean, I know we've dropped college administrations for affirmative action, saying, no, we're not going to allow that anymore. We're not going to give you education based on your skin color anymore. You're going to have to earn it like everybody else does. But it needs to be like that for the entire country now. Because all my friends like to say, well, they need them programs. What, really? Then explain to me why the majority of people on welfare are white. I think they need the programs too. So I guess media, for some reason, doesn't ever want to talk about that. But I know we got to go, so we're going to end it there. But Jane, I'll let you tell everybody where to find you Thursday, and Dell and Mike and Laura Lee, and then we the hell out of here. And Kathy Belsky from Quantum Leap is coming up.
You can find Chasing Prophecy on Thursdays at 7 Eastern, 6 Central.
Yes, and see, I told you we wouldn't bite you tonight. She was scared we might put her in a cage or something. Dell, go ahead.
Yeah, you can find me Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on UPRN. The Delicious Recipe, where we throw everything in the pot and we see how it tastes at the end.
Uncle Michael?
Do you put pot in the pot? Just curious, man.
Sometimes.
Little brownie going on. So Discovery Paranormal every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Everything Paranormal. And we have the Red Pill News, which is every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Boom, boom, boom.
And up next is our local Canadian witch, Laura Lee.
That's okay. Sorry, I'm Laura Lee Poppin. I'm the host of the Angel Rock. My show's on Monday nights, live from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I hope you'll join me.
And may have something else in the works. Did I say that out loud? Damn.
I didn't say it.
I didn't. You didn't. I did. But anyway, Jenny, it's nice having you. I hope you join us in some more of these shows because, we do these on Mondays and Fridays. We do these to help for boost ratings for the network. We also help to boost ratings on our own show. So it
was fun. Thanks for inviting.
Guys and girls, remember coming up next is Quantum Leap with Kathy Belsky. She'll be coming up on, she lives on some top of some mountain in Hawaii, like a hermit woman.
Thanks to everybody in the chat.
Yes. And yes, great chat room tonight. Nice to see it in there. Great to see people finding themselves from the other chat room to this one now. It was kind of nice to see. And for everybody that was on Facebook hitting me up tonight, good. And yes, I did. And Marcus, I did have my email closed tonight, except for earlier. I had it for a little while. But anyway, we got to get out of here. So I want to thank everyone again for tuning in to United Public Radio on the Centralist. Remember, we're here every Friday night. If you really have something you're interested in people and something you want us to tackle, write to us. So we get into some serious stuff sometimes. Sometimes it's just news. Sometimes it's more serious. But also, we've got, we'll talk about it on another night. But anyway, keep what's going on in the shows because often I throw a Science and Beyond into the Friday lineup because, we do some sciencey stuff from time to time. But on that note, again, thanks everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and the Centrals, and good night and stay tuned. And boom, boom.